Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 go.
Hello, RailCats fans, and welcome back to another edition of the RailCats Talk Podcast. I'm your host, Kyle Savetich, and we have some news. I know this has been over the course of, going on a handful of hours now. I would say probably close to 16-ish hours. Nothing has been permanently said amongst the league, but there has been some transactions done prior and roster adjustments done on Point Streak to say that Michael WoodWorth is now a Kane County Cougar. And I'm going to dive into that and kind of break it down for what it is and maybe discuss some other rumors. And I'm not going to say where the rumors came from necessarily, just because I don't want to put anyone on heat, especially if it's going to be in a private message directly to me. If it's something that comes out to be true, obviously I will give the name of the source, but I don't want other people to get flack for things that may or may not be true, or if they are true. I just don't want people to get that kind of criticism. I would rather take the blunt of that. That's the whole point of this podcast, is to get news out there as best as I can, and obviously I need sources for that. So I thank every person that gives me information. I take every piece of information seriously. And if I don't respond back, sometimes, like in the case of yesterday, all this stuff was breaking and I was getting private messages and I was in the middle of work and I couldn't stop to message, to send things back. And then, getting home so early in the morning and having to flip my sleep schedule around. So it was just one of those, I may have been very barren with what I had, but that's the barren amount of time that I had to deal with everything last night into early morning. So without further ado, we'll talk about, there was, I had a message early on Monday morning when I woke up from my previous overnight that I was doing, talking about how Michael WoodWorth was not in the dugout on Sunday against Kane County, which seems like he just took his bags and went to the other side of the the clubhouse there and dealt with that. But there was more to that, as Woody got on the bad side of Lamar. Now, I don't know if that's 100% accurate how that works out. When I get more into it, I can discuss on what I think may happen, or what the other expectations, or not the expectations, but the other reasonings behind everything is. So I'll get into the Michael WoodWorth stuff, and then I'll talk about maybe the other portion of the rumor that was given to me as well. So originally thought everyone was saying that Michael WoodWorth was going to Sioux Falls, and then came out that he's actually going to Kane County. It's on Point Streak, so that's 100% accurate. That's where he's going. There's nothing in the transactions from the American Association that has said anything, and it seems like it's for a player to be named for later, which I hate that. I find that annoying, that we are sending people away and getting nothing in return. I understand. I think at this point, you're just, I don't know why you just couldn't take someone from Kane County who may not have been very productive, or whatever the case may be. Just take them from their roster. And if that's what you want to call it, you can call it. It could be a change of scenery. You can't just pass on taking someone from inside the association, just because you think that you should go out and get someone else. We're to the point to where we're 2 weeks under basically of the rest of the season, and you're not going to make the playoffs. We're just going to throw that one out the window. It's just not possible. It's not happening. It won't happen. If it does happen, I will eat my words. I'll eat my hat, or whatever the case may be. It's not going to happen. This team isn't going to happen this year. It's done. And this is why I think you're seeing this kind of moves. And I've been told that there are some more moves that are potentially coming. I think it's one of those that WoodWorth has been with the team, for 3 years now, dating back to 2021. He is 26, so he's still relatively young. But, it could be one of those that he's 26 and he's realizing, after 3 years of playing in the association and, last year, the year in 2021, he played in 31 games, had a 367 batting average. Last year, he played in 99 games. He batted at 294. And this year, through 52 games with the RailCats, he's batting at 245. I know he had the injury. He was out with concussion for a while. That kind of stuff. So it's one of those. The numbers started to dwindle a little bit anyways. So it could be a change of scenery. I've heard from multiple rumors that maybe the locker room isn't meshing. And I think we knew this was an issue halfway through this season anyways. We thought maybe it got readjusted a little bit, but it seems like that's resurfacing its ugly head. I'm not sure if that's fully accurate. I think a lot of the times it was an individual issue, people being more individuals than a team, and I think now it's becoming more team utilized, but I don't think the locker room is still very happy, or the morale's not very well, and I think the issue is a little bit on the players, yes, but a lot of it's on this coaching staff. I think it's time to really start to not necessarily blame the coaching staff, but look at the coaching staff up and down and try to figure out what the issue is. With the conversation I had with Matt Brunson in the interview that I had, him talking about how it's a professional environment, and you come up to work, you show up to work because we're professionals. My biggest complaint that I have with that mindset is, yes, they are getting paid to play this. Yes, they are quote-unquote professionals. But are they in the MLB? No. Are they in the affiliated ranks? No. If they were in the affiliated ranks, they would be getting coaching as far as teaching, as far as improving their game, improving how their batting style is, or whatever the case may be. I get this is an independent league, independent professional baseball. But the issue is what you also got to take into consideration is you're trying to win a championship, but also at the same time are you getting better every day? Is your team getting better every day? When I coached football in high school, I had the coach that I was under, the head coach of the team, always told the players every week. He said, winning, we want to win. Every week we want to win. That is top priority. But what's the second priority? Is did we get better? Did we improve from the week before? Same thing here. Did we improve from the week before? And I don't think this team has. If you take this team from day one to now, I don't think this team has improved whatsoever. Even if you take this team from last year to this year, the team has not improved. I have not seen that improvement. The record shows it. I think we have quality pieces, and the pieces that put the work in that have proved individually, but the team has not improved in my mind. The same inconsistencies are from last year. The same from last year are moving over to this year. there is an issue that is going on in that locker room. I can't pinpoint it. Maybe other people can. But I think the blame needs to start shifting a tad bit to maybe this coaching staff. And what I mean by that is maybe instead of saying, you know what, this is a professional environment, you come in, if you're not motivated to play, then you're out. Right? Okay. Everyone has bad weeks. Everyone has bad days, right? Sometimes it takes that little bit of motivation to kickstart you, right? Had an argument with your wife, or a dog died, or whatever the case may be. You have that little bit of motivation that, you know, maybe you're sitting there, you're down on yourself because you're in a slump, and the manager comes in, slams the door, starts kicking lockers and saying, I know you guys are better than this. You guys have to be playing better, get your heads out of your ass, and excuse my language, but it's one of those where they have to say, listen, something's not working and you guys need to figure it out. If it's something that I need to do, or we need to figure something out, it just needs to be done. Like, something needs to get figured out. And if it's pep talking the team before a game, let it be a pep talk before the game. If it's extra work on the tee, or whatever the case may be, however you want to turn yourself around, that's just maybe how it needs to be. This team, some reason, gets out of the gate really slowly offensively. And sometimes you just need a little bit of better motivation. And that's why I don't necessarily want to blame the coaching staff fully, because I see what the picture, what the idea, what the blueprint is. I see what it is, and I completely understand that blueprint. You want a hardworking team that's going to give you 100% effort all the time. But as human beings, you are physically not going to give 100% all the time. It's just not going to happen. There are some people in this world that could probably give you 110% every single day. They are wired differently. Not everyone is that way. I think it's just one of those things that I don't know if it's a locker room issue. I don't know if the pieces that have been brought in aren't meshing. And you have a leadership group that got diminished last year. And you got players that were having good years last year, maybe struggle out of the gate and get released and cut right away for maybe having a day or two where they just didn't, a game or two, they just didn't figure it out. Sam Abbott is a perfect example of that. He changed his swing to improve his game, and he gets punished by getting released. The ins and outs, the switching and all this other stuff, some of it just doesn't make any sense. You know, so I think in the case of getting back to Michael WoodWorth here, could he have gotten on Lamar Rogers' bad side? It's a good possibility. It really is. It's a good possibility. Or maybe he just is coming to the end of the road and realizing that maybe affiliated ball just might not happen quite yet. It could happen, but it just might not happen, and that next chapter of life is coming. He's on the last little bit of page on the chapter of life he is in now, and he's got to move to the next chapter, and right before he finishes it, he wants at the end a ring, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. If you want a ring, go chase a ring. My God, go chase a ring. As a RailCat fan, as someone that has covered this team for 2 years, I would love to see Michael WoodWorth get a ring. I think he deserves it. I think there's a handful of people on this team that deserve it. I would say even Tom Walraven from last year deserves a ring, even if he gets it in the Frontier League. I don't know. I don't know if he's going to. But they have the right to go chase a ring. This team is obviously not in the contention for it. And I think they realize that. And I think changes are going to come for older players that want to potentially chase a ring. Prime example is, I don't know if it's going to happen, but I could see it happening. And I've been thinking about saying this for a while now, but could we potentially see Daniel Langlois maybe go to Cleburne? I was thinking about obviously following him on Instagram, and when they went down the Cleburne series, a lot of people went to his house because he's so close. And I would have to look at the standings right now. Obviously they're out of a playoff spot, a game behind Kane County, but would that be a possibility? Would that be a possibility of maybe getting another asset or another asset from Cleburne and maybe putting Daniel down there? I don't know. Maybe being closer to his family. That was just, and maybe that was going to be something I was going to bring up at the end of the year after everything kind of relaxed. But that's a good possibility. That could happen. That's a huge possibility. I don't know if that's going to happen, but it is. There's a handful of people on this roster that I could see potentially moving. Mariaga might be one of those people that he has been basically MVP of this team. Other than batting average, and hits, he leads the team in doubles. He leads the team in triples. He leads the team in home runs. Leads the team in RBIs. The MVP of the team right there. A high value target to put in center field. Would I like to see him go? No. But it's one of those situations of what are we going to do? Are we just going to sit back and let everything I don't know how to phrase that, because it's so hard to I want to say, trade it for another person or another team, but that doesn't mean that person's going to be here next year with the indie ball, with it being the American Association and independent baseball. It's such a hard say, get rid of this guy. We'll get an asset back. But I mean, we'll have him next year. I think Mariaga is a good cornerstone of this team. I'm just looking, not Castillo. I'm in Langlois here. Langlois the same. I'm 27. He's the same age as I am. He has a kid at home, a daughter. It would make more sense for him to potentially go that way. In that scheme of things, but I don't know what's going to happen. We're seeing a change of a guard to a certain extent, and people are going bye-bye. And it's just, that's kind of how it's going to go. You spend 3 years with the team, and the team hasn't done anything productive. Why stay on a team that's losing? I think that's what the point that we're going to start seeing people move, because it's, I've been here for 3 years. Nothing has changed. Why go here? Why stay here if I can go somewhere else and potentially play in the playoffs? I've been in this league for 3 years and I haven't played in the playoffs. Here's your opportunity. It's just one of those things that it's coming down to the end of the season, and things aren't going to start potentially moving around. I don't know what the issue is with this team. And I don't think anyone is going to figure out what the issue is. Because really the only person that might be able to know what the players may feel a certain way. But really, I think the only person that knows, that understands the issue with this team is going to be Lamar Rogers. He's the one that put this team together. He's the one that runs the clubhouse. He's the one that may know what's going on. Or he may not. Maybe it's a bit of being oblivious to the situation and not, at fault here. I mean, there's a lot of things that we can say. Let's just put this an example, okay? So, the RailCats win game 2, and they put up offensive productive numbers. And I know it was a quick turnaround from a night game to a day game, and it was super hot during that day game. Don't get me wrong. But when we look at the lineup and how much, I guess it really didn't necessarily change, but it changed to a certain extent. You took out, let's see, you have, in the two differences here, you have Goodell was taken out for Greeley, and Greeley got an RBI and scored, and Goodell was only able to muster up a hit. The whole team failed in this aspect of it, but then, you had Bockley, who took over, I believe for WoodWorth, technically that's how it kind of spun itself into, WoodWorth, and Bockley, he got a hit, and WoodWorth got a hit and scored. I'm not saying, you change up the lineup a tad bit, you maybe move stuff around, whatever the case may be, but it's like, it always seems like the consistency of the batting order changes on a day-to-day basis. Greeley has a heck of a game, and Goodell goes in. Or you could put it, that's the biggest one that I have, really, is that one. There's other situations prior to, when Tapia was playing, and Paulino was playing, and Hernandez and Abbott and all these other people. Those situations, they're no longer here. So it's kind of hard to pick those situations anymore. And going into this second rumor that I got, basically, someone was able to talk to a parent, or not necessarily, talk to someone who knew the ins and outs of what happened with the Bockley trade. And so how this kind of warrants itself is kind of a long list of here, but it's all about hearsay, and I don't know if it's 100% true. But so apparently Cleburne made a deal with Winnipeg for a player to be named later. Cleburne wanted Max Murphy, but that didn't happen. So they were going to settle for Bockley. But he had the hamstring injury, so they didn't want to get someone that had they wanted him in an everyday lineup, and it may not have happened. So maybe this is why we don't see Bockley as much, because he might be still dealing with a hamstring injury. Then Cleburne got Sermo back, so there was nothing with that going on with Bockley. So Winnipeg sent him here for Matt Leon. So then that's not all of that happens. So supposedly, Bockley didn't like to play for Taggart, and it seems like some current and former Cats heard that as well. Now they're hearing that they don't like playing for Lamar. I'm not sure, what the situation is going to be with that. This leads into the next kind of bit of, what is ownership going to do? Is this a overreaction from fans? Is this actually happening? Maybe I need to start doing some digging. It's just so hard sometimes to do some digging. I know I'm making excuses, and I hate making excuses, because I shouldn't. With working my schedule and trying to cover a league that doesn't necessarily get media attention, and rumors aren't solidified as facts or fiction. So it's one of those, it's so hard to try to get, and a lot of the time is luckily my wife doesn't watch any of this. A lot of the times what happens is when I go to games during the week, the game's over, my wife wants to go. So I don't have the opportunity to maybe sit around and talk with people or do that kind of stuff, because me and my wife both work pretty early in the morning, and she just wants to get out. She doesn't want to be there. She's just a supportive wife, and she comes and she supports my hobby, and that's what she does. Not all the time do I get to the game right when the gates open, because she doesn't necessarily want to get there. So it's just one of those, like, I feel a little bit limited in a certain extent of what to do. Maybe I can reach out more on social media and that kind of stuff, whatever the case may be. So that's why I rely on most of the die-hard fans that have the connections to kind of deliver that message to me and me to kind of decipher the information and go through with that. So, maybe looking on to next year, having a better footing on it, a better understanding of it. I think I've done a better job this year than I did last year of reporting most stuff that has come in, and that kind of stuff. I think I'm kind of opened the show up a little bit, a little bit more on that aspect of it. But I'm working on that portion. I'm working on it. Just give me a second. But roping it back into why I'm doing today's podcast. This is a very interesting time for the RailCats and the organization and the team itself, and seeing what kind of moves are going to get made. I'm not sure. It could be, maybe like a DJ Wilkinson getting moved. Maybe an Adi Nunez getting moved. He's been pretty productive. Maybe a Jared Price moving on. I don't know what who or what or where or why is what's gonna happen. I'm not sure what the end game's gonna be, but I'm pretty sure we're gonna find out. And before I close the podcast out, I want to see if any transactions have popped up recently. Typically by this time they have the transaction popped up, and it just has Kane County put Pete Cosma on the inactive list, basically. So that kind of solidified where Michael WoodWorth was going, was Kane County, because of that incident there. But yeah, so let me know what your thoughts are. It could be a DM, it could be on comments down below, it could be anything. Just I have a good feeling of what I think the fan base is feeling right now. But let me know more what you feel like down in the comments below. So I'll try to keep this under a nice half hour for you. So yeah, I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, rest of your evening, whenever you're watching this, and go Cats.
The 0-2. Swing and a miss, strike three. Wrap this one up in green and white.